So GOML just ended the other day. I made a whole video of me reacting to it. I actually reacted to it live. If you haven't seen it, you should see it on the screen right now. But I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about some of the other chaotic stuff that happened at GOML and why this was honestly one of the most unorthodox super majors that we've seen in a long time. So starting off with the player list, there were a few very, very good top Ultimate players that were not able to attend due to flight issues, and that includes players, commentators. One of the big name players who was not able to attend, Shuton, was not able to attend. He was probably going to be the biggest Japanese representative other than Kameme. Kameme did, I don't know if I would consider it an underperformance, but he didn't perform as well as some people may have thought. However, we've gotten DQs from Jackal, DQs from Lima, DQ from Tilde, including an Onin DQ. So 4 huge DQs out of the bracket, making the tournament just a little bit less stacked. Obviously, Shuton and Onin, probably the biggest, but Jackal and Lima also very huge DQs that were not included in the GOML tournament run. So the tournament already started off chaotic. There were a lot of players that tried to get in, a lot of commentators. I know Coney couldn't get there because flights got canceled over and over again. It was just a pretty chaotic start to the bracket in general. And now talking about the bracket specifically, obviously you had some crazy upsets. Cosmos lost really early, and then you had the huge Big Duck Hunt fan upset over Tweak, including the rest of Big Duck Hunt fans run, and that was a huge upset. There were a bunch of huge other upsets. Shu beat Riddles, sending Riddles into losers very early. Zomba beat Spargo, however, not as big of an upset, and then Spargo would obviously end up beating Zomba later. But the bracket already itself was really crazy, and now the big thing that I wanted to talk about is the streaming issues. Now, the way Ultimate was streamed, this is the first week that Luminosity Gaming was actually streaming Ultimate on the Luminosity Gaming Twitch channel. So this was the first ever tournament that Luminosity, obviously they've been doing a lot for the Smash community lately. This was the first time they took on the streaming of a certain tournament, right? And Luminosity Gaming was supposed to be the mainstream until House of 3000 would be the mainstream. Or I'm not actually sure if Luminosity Gaming was going to be the mainstream. However, apparently the PC just blew up. The PC just stopped working for the mainstream, and they just could not get it to work, which meant that the entirety of top 32, every single set that we got to see, was on a quad stream. Now, as a viewer, that was an abysmal experience. And the problem is because it wasn't just a quad stream of Ultimate sets, right? You're not just seeing 4 Ultimate sets with volume on one of them. There were 2 Ultimate sets and 2 Melee sets because they didn't have a mainstream for Melee either. And they weren't planning on having a mainstream for Melee either, except for House of 3000. But because they didn't have a mainstream for Ultimate, they would play 2 matches of Melee on the side with 2 matches of Ultimate on the side, and they would sometimes not even play the audio for the Ultimate. They would play Melee audio instead of 2 Ultimate sets that are sitting right there for top 32. And that means that there's also no commentary for any of the top 32 sets, which means we missed some really big sets on stream. We didn't get to see a single MKLeo set streamed the entirety of GOML. We didn't get to see any of Tweak Big Duck Hunt fan. We didn't get to see Big D versus Cosmos and losers. We didn't get to see any of these really good sets just because there were streaming issues. And I obviously understand, sometimes the PC just blows up and there's not much you can do. I just find it just really sucks because this seems to have been an issue lately. In the last few Smash tournaments that we've talked about, there's always seems to be an issue with the streaming services, whether it's streaming on a specific channel that just does not work out, the mainstream dying repeatedly over and over again, production itself just being very rough around the edges, and it seems to be happening a lot more often. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about is just picking which specific matches should be on stream versus which matches should be played off stream or on a quad stream. The matches that they were choosing, even though the mainstream wasn't there, the matches that they were choosing to place on the quad stream were really no disrespect to the players obviously, but compared to some of the matches that we could have seen in the matches that they decided to show on stream, it was just very confusing in general. I just didn't understand what matches they were choosing to put on screen. The fact that they didn't show any MKLeo, the fact that we didn't see Tweak Big Duck Hunt fan, and I know people are going to say, well, Big Duck Hunt fan, it was an upset, but I feel like at this point you should be able to adapt, especially in a situation like that. where you're quad streaming anyways. And we know that Tweak has said before that he thinks that Duck Hunt is the worst matchup for Diddy. So in a potential upset alert matchup, I feel like TOs, if players and spectators can realize that and realize that an upset factor match may happen, I feel like TOs, not specifically TOs, but anybody who's dealing with the stream should be able to realize that as well, and at least get them on the quad stream. And it's not even that certain matches, like, oh, I didn't get to see my favorite player, like, oh, my favorite player is Dark Wizzy, I didn't get to see Dark Wizzy versus Spargo, oh no, it's not even that, it's that they chose to put specific matches that weren't high seeded matches, right? Like Revolver versus Zeref, I think that is his name. It was the Roy Sheik matchup, but they chose to put that match on stream while Big D Cosmos was going on. And even if those two are higher seeds, or even if it was an upset seeding, I don't see any reason why you can't switch over to Big D Cosmos when you realize that set is about to happen, because those are two huge players going against each other for a no holds bars losers match. And you just decide not to stream it. And I feel like this has been happening at multiple tournaments lately, where you'll go into Twitch chat and people will be complaining about the matches that they've put on stream just because certain big matchups are just not being streamed. And then there's no commentating, there's no reaction, you don't get to see these hype top 32 sets, and a lot of people will even argue that top 32, top 64 is where the really hype sets really truly happen. When you go look at the history of ultimate sets, most ultimate sets that are really hype, that'll get those millions of views, not all of them are during top 8. A lot of them are during top 32, which is where you get to see those unique character matchups that you might not see. Maybe a player gets a really good run and gets to fight against MK Leo, but they don't normally top 8 in tournament, right? So you'll get those huge matchups in top 32. So for top 32 to be such a bad viewing experience lately in a lot of Smash tournaments, in general, it just really sucks overall. When people talk about why Smash Ultimate's numbers are dying down, the actual amount of people playing Smash Ultimate is not dying down. I actually saw a statistic the other day that said that I think last month or the month before had the most active players in Ultimate ever. So obviously the amount of players that are playing Ultimate competitively is only going up. However, the number of viewers watching is only going down. And I hate to say that, I feel like it's just because the production for streaming lately, the way these tournaments are put out to people has just been really bad. And obviously, you know, issues will always arise. I think that this was an issue with one of the computers dying at another tournament before this. However, unfortunately, if this continues to happen, the numbers for Ultimate are just going to go down and down, because when you have Twitch chat get so bad because people are complaining about, so many people in the Twitch chat are complaining about certain players not being on stream. Or imagine you're sitting in Twitch chat and you're watching a pretty boring set with two players that aren't super notable, and then in chat somebody's screaming, OMG, Big Duck Hunt fan just went up 2-1 on Tweak, like, and you realize, okay, why aren't they streaming that game? I really wish I could watch that game, at least on the quad stream, and you just can't find it on any stream for top 32. It's just really frustrating as a viewer, and sometimes the viewers can get a little spoiled and expect too much. However, I feel like streaming better matches and actually getting, obviously, a well-produced event can improve a little bit, especially over the past month, or I would say month or two of events, running into these issues that never really happened in the early days of Ultimate, or even in the last few years. You just don't hear that much about really terrible streaming issues or viewership experience. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Obviously, I just wanted to make this video to kind of talk about it and see what you guys thought about how Ultimate is currently being streamed and how you guys are enjoying these tournaments. But as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.